quick shout out and say thanks for checking out our stuff here at B.U.O Media Group. If you're liking what you see, it would mean a lot if you could show some love by liking and sharing our content. You know, it's free for you, but it really helps us grow the brand and allows people like Charlee Blacc to keep creating that high quality, good stuff for you all. So yeah, appreciate you taking the time to support. It really does make a difference for us. All right, that's all I got for now.
Style. Style is the answer to everything. A fresh way to approach a dull or dangerous thing. To do a dangerous thing with style is what I call art.
So my name is Tayler, and I basically made books and stories my entire life. So I have been working as a social worker doing community building and outreach with sexual assault and domestic violence survivors, and just seeing their ability to tell their story and really voice their truth. It really inspired me to think about the power of storytelling to make a lot of change in the world. So I started a blog in 2019 on books and social justice and how they got me fired up to want to change the world. And so last year in June, I started my own pop-up and online bookstore called Liberation is Lit. And through that, I kind of thought about telling my own story. So I wrote a lot of poetry, and these two are my poetry collections that I self-published. And I also wanted to empower other people to self-publish and take control of their own stories and not wait for traditional publishing companies to give them a chance, but have them bet on themselves and champion their own story. So I also wrote a guide to self-publishing. So my whole life is just revolves around books and storytelling.
Okay. And how long have you, well, you said you've been doing this your whole life, and how long does it take you to come up with your processes to create your books?
Yes. So my poetry is a little bit different. So when I self-published my first book, Phases, I was like, I want to learn about this self-publishing process because I had somebody who wanted me to help them self-publish. So I was like, well, let me learn how to do it myself. So I kind of looked back through my old journals, and if you would ask me a year ago, are you a poet? I would have been like, no. But I found a treasure trove of poetry in my journals, and I ended up finding and collecting over 100 poems. And I was like, well, let me pick some out that makes sense in a collection. So that's how I kind of did my first poetry collection. My second collection, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take all the love poems because people love poetry. And then I had a really good friend pass away unexpectedly while I was writing the book. So I wrote a lot of grief poems and poems about friendship. And so that went into that book, and that's why that book is called Love and Other Forms of Heartbreak. And so I kind of just write poems when I feel like it. My poems are very short. So I could just be sitting in my car after the gym, or I wrote a lot of nostalgic poems while sitting in church and thinking about growing up in Black church. And so sometimes poetry just comes to me and I'll write it down in my notes app. And I'm really leaning into this creative writing this season. Before, I was doing a lot of blog posts, articles, so I've been writing for a really long time. I was telling somebody earlier, I wrote and self-published my first book in second grade.
Oh, wow.
Tooth Fairy. So, yes.
Well, that must have been a very impressive book, because I can see right now you are still creating books. That must have been, they say when you're growing up, the first 10 years of your life, it tells a lot about who you are and what you're going to become. And if you're in the second grade writing books, that was your destiny to be a book author. So with that being said, now, what besides your major and what made you, were you an English major?
No, I was a psychology major for my bachelor's degree and social work for my master's.
Yeah, and I heard you said you were social work, right?
Yes.
So creating books, like most people that I know that write a lot of books and stuff like that, they're English majors. Mm-hmm. So does that mean you must love to read a lot?
Yes. I think my love for writing came from my love of reading. I was reading books before I could actually read them. My mom, I remember I would carry this Winnie the Pooh carrying case with a bunch of books on cassette tapes, and I had my books in there, and I would put my cassettes in my cassette player, and it would beep when I turned the page. So that's how my mom had me reading on my own before I could even read, and that's a lot how I picked up on how to read so fast when I was so young, because I had that ability to follow along, and that's when my love of books came about. And I'm a very avid reader still. I probably read around 5 to 8 books a month.
That's great. That is great.
So I was just telling one of my friends earlier that my work day consists of 4 hours of really concentrated admin work, and then the rest of the time I'm reading homework.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Now, being a social work major, does that affect your daily life? Does it affect your creative processes for your books?
Definitely. So my social work background really helped solidify a lot of the skills I have with community building, community outreach, connection. So when I'm out and I'm selling my bookstore Liberation is Lit, I can talk to anybody about anything, but also being able to point people to resources and using the stories to highlight different social issues that I really use a lot of those skills. But my social work skills also help me think about when I'm sitting down and putting my collection together for poetry, or right now I'm writing a horror novel. I'm also writing storytelling activism books as well. So I write a lot about different things, but I love to think about who is my target reader or client, and how can I use the story to help them.
Okay. So pretty much stories and different things like that, they help to shape your daily life, and even in your books, they help to shape the concept of your books.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Now that's great. You don't get a lot of authors that say, their daily life consists of what they studied in school or stuff like that, because I'm a mass comm major, but being a mass comm major, my daily life isn't based around mass comm, even though some of my life is, but not, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's a good thing when you can translate what you've actually learned and live it, you know what I mean?
I think that's the beauty of social work in general, because I originally, when I got my psychology degree, I wanted to be a lawyer, and that LSAT did me dirty. So one of my friends told me, she was in the social work program at USC, but taking classes in Charleston. And she was like, you should try social work. And so that was the only grad program I applied to, because I wanted to procrastinate entering adulthood. So I kept going to school. So I took my first social work class, and I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And just the profession really takes my love of community building and helping people and working with people and really translates it in a way that really felt aligned with what I wanted to do.
So that it aligned with your values and what you feel.
Yes.
Now, when you can make it align with your values, your core values, that means that you're not going to break any of your values. You're going to be specifically on target with what you're trying to do. Can you tell my viewers where they can find a lot of your work? Are you on like Amazon? Are you on Books A Million?
Yes. I am on all types of platforms. You can find my books on Amazon. You can find my books on bookshop.org, barnesandnoble.com. And even if you want to just try out my books, they're available on Hoopla with your library cards.
Okay. So, tell me this. I want you to do something for me. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to advertise your books and your products. Talk yourself up. Talk up your business, what you do.
Yes. So, I'll start with my bookstore. My bookstore is really my baby. So, it's called Liberation is Live, and I really bring books to the community in order to spark community change. So how can we use stories to come together, build bridges, but also use books as mirrors where we can see ourselves and windows where we can see into the lives of people who aren't as familiar to us. And I mostly sell books, used books by Black and Indigenous people of color, LGBTQ, and disabled writers. And so that was the inspiration behind this book, Writing Our Truths, A Guide to Self-Publishing for BIPOC Writers. I didn't want to just write a book about self-publishing. I wanted to write how we can use our voices and our stories as people who have experienced oppression to really find liberation and freedom in that, and using self-publishing as a way to not wait for people to give us a seat at the table, but to build our own tables. And with that as well, I made a course. It's really small. It's self-publishing for purpose-driven professionals. So entrepreneurs, nonprofit leaders who want to self-publish their book that really goes along with their business. It's called Build Your Own Table again, for us to really harness the power of our stories to make the impact that we want to. And then for my poetry collections, this one was my first book baby, Phases. And I'll give you a little Easter egg. You can notice the Cancer constellation in it on the book cover. So this was just my exploration on feeling like I was too sensitive for the world and masking that with perfectionism, and how I moved through those phases to unlearn that and really become in alignment with being who I am and using my sensitivity as a superpower. And then I talked a little bit about this one, Love and Other Forms of Heartbreak, but it's all about love poems, self-love, family, friendships, romantic love, unrequited love. So this is just that blissful side of love, but also kind of that pain that comes with losing love as well. So that is me, and that is all my products that I sell.
Okay. It's been wonderful chatting with you. We definitely would like to come back and sit down and talk with you on another occasion where we could go more in depth into what you do. And maybe we can have you come out and speak and, have some of our viewers chime in. And
yeah, definitely. Again, I love connecting with community and just bringing my love and passion for books to people. I want to make people start reading again.
I know, right? Reading has faded out with going outside for kids.
Yes.
This generation, you don't see a lot of children that go outside and play. They stay inside and play video games. Right. And that's the same with reading. You don't see a lot of children from this generation reading, except for the younger kids. They will read because there are a lot of initiatives in the school that helps them if they read a certain amount of books and different things like that. So yes, we would definitely like to see more reading, especially with just our youth in general, with people in general.
And I feel like people don't see books that they can relate to, that they see themselves in, especially with young people.
Yes.
And that is why I'm so passionate about giving books. Like, I've seen so many Black boys that I'm like, have you heard of like Walter D. Myers? Like, have you heard of Jason Reynolds?
And they haven't.
No. So think like introducing them to books and stories where the main characters look like them and they're not just some side characters. Or I do have a lot of books about like interactions with the police, but like I also have I love this book, Blood at the Root. It's about a magical HBCU. It's phenomenal, and it's got a Black boy as a main character, and he's magic.
Oh wow!
Yes.
That sounds like a really good book. Shout your HBCU out, or did you go to a HBCU?
I unfortunately did not. I went to College of Charleston at USC.
Well, College of Charleston was still a great school, and USC is definitely a great school. So, that's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
So it's been great talking to you.
Yes.
And we would love to do this again with you. All right.
Thank you.
You are welcome, and thank you for your time.